I'm calling you Frank, but you've had other names since all this stuff went down.
Yeah, I had several.
So they give you a choice?
Well, yeah, they tell you to pick out something, sort of stay away from Italian-sounding names. Try to stay away from your first name, and whatever you pick, they'll make a choice. Then they'll go into their list of names and see if anybody else has that name. Choose that name. So it's sort of like belonging to the Film Actors Guild.
Can you tell me what one of your names was in the beginning? Or are you going to hold that
I'm
back?
going to hold back.
Okay.
I didn't pick two of the names. My ex-wife did. The last one I picked.
And they had you moving around. Did you tell me you lived in the South for a while?
Well, I lived in the South for quite a while. I went as far as Biloxi, Mississippi, Gulfport. Lived in Texas, Virginia. Been all over the place.
You must have stood out like a sore thumb in those places.
Terrible, especially in Texas. Listen to the way I sound. They knew right away I didn't belong there. So you got to lie. Why are you there? I told them, well, I want you. My wife died in an auto crash, and I had to go somewhere where nobody. I had to get away from the memories. So you become a liar.
Basically, you wanted out of that thing as soon as you could get out of it, though, right?
As soon as I got off of parole, I was out of there. As a matter of fact, I wrote a note and I mailed it to the U.S. Marshal, the inspector, and told him that by the time he got this letter, I'd be long gone.
Were they mad at you for that?
No, they weren't mad at me. That was my choice. That was my choice.
They had
give
already...
you $1,100 a month. How do you live on $1,100 a month?
And wow. And were they done with you by that point?
I just got done off. They actually were never done. They're never done with you, the government. But I was off of parole, so that now I was able to do what I wanted to do. But once I violated the marshal's rules, what they tell you to do, they'll automatically, bar you out of there, throw you out of there.
It's been a couple years since you and I sat down at the table and talked about this stuff, but so there's some things that have happened in between. The most recent one, where I saw your name, was with Lawrence Newman, dying in Chicago, and you had a couple of lines, classic Frank Cullotta lines about what was the one you said?
Hopefully nobody rips the steak out of his chest, because he'll definitely come back to life.
That was a tough, scary guy, huh?
Oh, it was terrible. Somebody told me they were going to try to get the ashes. I said, don't do it. I said, because if the ashes get out that vase that they're in, you never know what's going to happen.
Well, tell me about that guy.
Larry was a very dangerous individual, very intelligent individual. Had enough money, didn't need to steal, didn't need to kill. I think he used to get about $7,500 or $10,000 a month from the trust fund his father set up for him. He was just very, very ruthless. But he listened to me up until a certain point.
He killed people because he liked it? I think I read something like that.
I wouldn't say that he liked it. He didn't like to be talked down to, belittled, and stuff like that would anger him. Whereas most people could turn their cheek on somebody on an insult, no, he would just sit there and think about it until he'd come up and want to kill you.
I read the thing about the bar where they thought he felt he was shortchanged by the bartender.
Yeah, he told me the story on that. He said he went out and bought a shotgun, went back. He tapped the one guy in the shoulder. The guy was ringing up the register. The guy turned around, he shot him in the head, shot the brother at the end of the bar. Or the waitress come out and he shot her and walked out. And then he had a gun battle with the cops when they were looking for him, and he surrendered,
What did he do for you guys in Las Vegas?
He muscled bookmakers. Do little burglaries. He was too big. He was a clumsy guy to be a burglar, Or he'd drive a car, for us. But we send him to, say Tony would say, hey, Frankie, I got a guy that's operating book in town. And I want this guy to run to his boss, so his boss runs to me. And now we got a piece of that action. He said, send the big guy there, Lurch. And I said, because Lurch would scare anybody. So I'd send Larry there with a couple other guys like Leo and Ernie. Well, that's an ugly sight to see the three of them come to your door, And they done it to about 3-4 guys. And it worked out the way Tony said. Their bosses, these guys would cry to their bosses in another state like New York or Florida, wherever their bosses were from. They'd reach out for Tony for help, and Tony'd say, yeah. And then they tell Tony, voluntary, we'll take care of you, we'll cut you in. It worked out.
You called him Lurch. His hands, I guess, were so big you couldn't...
It was like that show, Lurch, yeah. And he had huge hands. He was a big man. This guy used to do 1,000 sit-ups a day. I was in the penitentiary with him. I used to watch him. His stomach was like a washboard. I mean, he was a big guy.
I guess at the somewhere along the line, we've got an interview with him on camera that somebody in Chicago got, where he was bad-mouthing you. You were never there. You didn't see any of this stuff.
Who, Larry said that?
Yeah.
He's supposed to say that.
Yeah.
What else is he going to say? He's just like any lawyer or Oscar Goodman. They're going to say that. What else are they going to say? They got to talk down to me, talk bad about me. Probably do the same thing if I were in their shoes.
And is it true that Tony was, Tony wasn't scared of many people, like you weren't scared of many people, but that Tony was spooked by that guy?
Well, I can tell you, one conversation I had with Tony about that, and he told me, he said, listen, whatever you do, don't get that big guy mad at us. Just treat him like a man at all times. This guy's a lunatic. He says, he will kill us with no problem at all. He says, I said, don't worry about him. I got him under control. He said, I'm telling you. He said, I don't want no problems with this guy.
And did you have him under control? Did he report to you?
Yeah. Larry listened to anything I said. If I said go kill him, he'd kill him. Anybody. But one time I scared Larry. I snuck up on him, and he jumped back, and he looked at me. And I said, what the fuck's the matter with you? I ain't going to hurt you. And he said, no. He says, you never know. You never know who could do something to you. He said, but I want to tell you something. Don't ever ask me to kill the little guy. He says, I won't do that. I was shocked. I wonder why. He said, but anybody else? He says, I'll take them apart.
No kidding.
That's the truth.
How many times did you testify? How many guys did you help?
I don't know.
A bunch?
A bunch. I mean, I've been to a lot of trials. I've been to the President's Commission. I've been to all of these gaming commissions. I've been to New York. I've been to Florida, Chicago, Las Vegas. I can't put a number on it.
You've put away a lot of your former associates.
I think I put away quite a few, yeah.
And they probably come at you with the same stuff every time, the same kind of attacks.
Absolutely. They'll call me anything under the sun, which I would do also if I was sitting in there in that chair. That's what they're supposed to do.
Tell me about the book. When we spoke in 2002, you were already working on it. What's the status of this thing? When's it going to come out?
This book should be out probably in May, the beginning of May. It's going to be a very, very good book. It's a tell-all. If you think you listen to the stuff now, when you read the book, you'll really be shocked.
You had told me back then that you probably had knowledge of more than 30 murders. And
yeah.
Are you naming names in this thing?
I named names of about, I don't know, it could be anywhere from 36 to 50 guys I know that were murdered by our friends, and they were our friends that got murdered. So, and they were all killed for different reasons by different guys. The guys who killed guys got killed by other guys. So I'd say 95% of these guys are all dead anyway.
Is there a point beyond which you won't go? Like, hey, I'm not going to tell what I know about this guy because he never did anything bad to me, and I'm loyal to him, kind of a thing like that.
No.
No, you're still...
I can't. I'm as much as I'd like to, you got to remember, I got this immunity, and the first time I'm caught lying, I'm in trouble. So I got to. I mean, that's the only thing I could say.
The book comes out in May, and it's going to get a lot of attention. Do you worry that means that the life that you have now goes away?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I mean, will it happen? I mean, you'll have to do TV.
I don't know. I found out there's certain people now that know me in the community that I live in that found out about me through TV. And, actually they like me more. It's strange, because they know that I'm a changed guy. I live a legitimate life. I don't harm nobody. They don't feel uncomfortable around me. As a matter of fact, they feel protected. Don't ask me why, but they feel protected around me. They like me.
Is there anybody out there that still wishes you harm?
Oh, absolutely. I imagine everybody that's going to be going to trial, and then some.
So they could still reach out if they.
I would believe so.
Can you say whether you know if you'll be involved in that trial?
I was told maybe a 50-50 chance.
Or what could you say? Or if you don't want to go into that, we don't have to.
I don't think I should go into that.
All right. So your book coming out in association right at the same time period, I mean, it's not a coincidence.
I didn't plan that.
Yeah.
I didn't plan that at all. I've been working on this book for years.
Can you tell me enough about the book to say, would it reflect on some of the characters who were on
Yes, it
trial?
would.
You think they got the right guys? The feds?
At first, I thought it was a couple other guys. As a matter of fact, I was a little shocked at some of the guys they named, but and some of the names. Let's put it like that. Some guys I figured were involved in that. It's just a guess, you know.
Well, for example, Joe Lombardo.
Well, he was Tony's boss, and he was my boss.
Meaning you guys reported directly to him.
Oh, Tony did. I reported to Tony. So Joe relayed the messages to Tony. And do I think that Joe Lombardo was involved in it? I think that they would have to go to him for an okay on it, yes, because Tony worked for Joe.
Meaning they had to, Joey Lombardo would have had to okay Tony.
Absolutely. He's Tony's boss.
I've seen some of the quotes about, obviously you and Tony had a split, which is why you made the decision you did. That you felt a little bit bad about the manner in which he went out.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty brutal. I know Tony was a violent person himself, and I know he killed a lot of people, hurt a lot of people. But I grew up with this guy, you know. I mean, I just don't think I could kill. If I had to kill him, I couldn't kill him that way. I would have just shot him. I couldn't beat him to death like that. Let his brother watch it, or vice versa. I didn't like that. I mean, whatever reason they did that for, is I don't know. I could just assume that it was they were showing one or the other, you're not such a tough guy after all. That's why you usually get a beating when you get beat to death. They're showing you that you're not that tough.
And had you heard the story that I had heard that one brother was beaten to death in front of the other one?
Yeah.
Michael probably first, or?
I heard Michael was being restrained, and Tony was being restrained, and Michael was beaten to death in front of Tony. And I guess Tony didn't take long to kill Tony because he had heart surgery. This is what I'm assuming there. I don't know. I wasn't there.
18 unsolved murders these guys in Chicago are on trial for. You suspect that there's a lot more than that
There's
not
a
on
lot,
trial for.
yeah. Like I said, there's guys who kill guys that have been killed.
Yeah.
For murders that, I mean, geez, there's a lot of guys.
Including the guy who I guess found the cornfield, found the spot, and didn't do a very good job of hiding Tony and Michael.
Yeah, that Figurata guy. Yeah, that's what I guess that's what opened up the door to this murder trial that's going on now, according to what I read.
Huh. Is this the end of the outfit in Chicago?
I would think it is the end. I don't think it'll ever be as strong and as organized as it was. I don't think that'll ever happen again. That's my belief.
Can't imagine there'll ever be a trial that big ever again, a mafia
Oh,
trial.
no, that's a lot of guys that are on trial for several different murders. I don't know who they are, but I don't think there'll ever be a trial that big again.
These Calabrese,
I
senior
knew
and
them.
junior, you knew them.
Yeah, I know them brothers real well.
What was the relationship? I mean,
Frankie, I know Frankie when Frankie was a machinery remover, Frankie Calabrese, and he wanted to be in the outfit. He begged me to get in the outfit. He begged me to hook him up with Tony. He wanted to be Tony. He wanted to get in the outfit. So he hooked me up to Tony if you can. I said, I'll talk to Tony for you. I can't tell Tony to put you in. He said, I got money. He said, I can put my money on the street, you know. I'll put my own money up. So I told Tony at the time. Tony said, well, who needs him, you know. But he got in eventually.
Is
He
anybody-
became a boss.
About your book, back to your book. Anybody in Las Vegas got anything to worry about what might come out? I guess we got to think about how you want to answer that. Because you want to.
Yeah, it's. I don't.
I mean, like you knew a lot of cops. You knew people that are now politicians. You knew people in the casino industry who've probably risen over the years.
Well, if you ask me no questions like that, there probably is people in the casino industry that probably would have concerns. I don't know if they're worried about indictments. I don't think it could happen. But it's embarrassment. I would say embarrassment's one of the things. The police, no. In Chicago, maybe yes. And some of them are in jail already anyway.
Yeah, this Harnhart guy, didn't
Hanhart? Yeah, Hanhart.
Harnhart, didn't he? He came after you. He was
testified against me. Yeah. And there's a guy that's supposed to be our guy. Well, of course they're going to use him to testify on me. He was their guy. He also testified on me when he wasn't their guy. So how could I like this guy?
He was brought in when you're testifying against Tony.
Right.
He's brought in to counter your testimony.
Yeah, to make it look like I was a nobody.
Did you know he was on the payroll at the time?
Yeah, I did. And how I knew that was Tony told me. Tony told me Hanhart's our guy. And I says, I started laughing. I said, our guy? He says, yeah, he's our guy. He says, you remember the time you pulled a jewel score in Chicago and Hanhart called you in? And he says, Frankie, I know you made that score. He says, I was shocked it was you. And I looked at him like, how in the hell would he hear that? Well, he had to hear it because it was an outfit score. We were lined up.
What about Oscar? I asked you this the last time. Has Oscar got anything to worry about?
Nah, he's just a big mouth. I got nothing to say about him.
Do you follow his exploits?
Yeah, he's a flamboyant guy, and he's got the right job. He's got the right job. He likes everybody to see him and hear him. He's got the right job.
Yeah. You've been called a hitman, even by me. Do you think of yourself as a hitman? I mean,
not really. I guess if you kill one person, you're a hitman. I don't think of myself as a hitman. As a kid, I used to think of as a hitman as the guy that just simply does that, goes around and whacks people in the head on orders. It's not like that. There's certain guys that do it, and they have other jobs, or they might even be cops. No, I never thought of myself as a hitman.
And a hitman, you think of in the movies, they get, here's $100,000, go kill that guy.
Yeah, that's not true.
No. It's like you do your job, you had other things to do in the crew.
What happens is the word slowly gets out that you are a hitman, and people treat you a lot different. And
Better?
Oh yeah, they don't want no problems, because they don't know if you're going to whack them or not. So they try to remain on your good side, because what goes around comes around.
I know your involvement in the listener thing. Is that the only one?
No.
There were other ones. Have you told? Do you talk about that?
Yeah,
in the
well,
book?
I don't want to talk about them now, but they're in the book.
They're in the book. Can you give me a number?
No, I don't want to.
Okay. All right. Well, that's salesmanship.
No, I understand.
Let's see. There have been other books like this, former wise guys who tell all. What's different? How's yours different?
I feel as though my book is honest. I'm right on the money on everything. It took a long time to put all this honesty together in this book. I don't think I put anybody down that shouldn't have been put down. I'm right on the money, and it's just an honest book.
You have some help with it now, but you did the work. You did the legwork.
I did the work, yes.
And any interest in movie stuff?
Well, that may come along and may not. It depends how interested the movie people are about it.
Well, you're like
the movie industry.
You're a movie guy.
Not really. Not really.
Tell me this: in testifying and in writing this thing, is it partially for atonement of some sort?
Money?
No, atonement, clear your conscience kind of a thing.
Well, there's a lot of that in there. I want to set the record straight. I really want to set the record straight on a lot of things, people. So I think that's probably about 90% of it, setting the record straight, because everybody hears different stories. I've heard so many different stories about me and the Hole in the Wall gang. I mean, it's a joke. So I want to set all of that straight.
Is it you have a clear conscience, though?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm not lying in this.
I remember you, we talked before, partly you kind of missed those days a little bit.
I grew up in them days. It's something that you just don't shake. It's very hard, and I do miss them days. But I'm glad I'm in this situation than in that situation.
If you had stayed in that life.
I'd have been dead or in prison. One of the two. Take your choice. I don't know.
But I mean, is it, do you believe that you had not much of a choice in growing up in the circumstances you were in, that's where you ended up?
I believe I made my choice because I liked the people I was hanging around with. I also had a lot of legitimate friends, but I also was lazy and I liked to make money. I thought was the easy way, which actually is the hardest way.
It sounds like you're a much different person today, a completely different person.
Well, thank you. I hope I am. Oh, no, I am. I am a much different person today.
When you agreed to become a witness, it seemed to me I remember they read transcripts to you, the FBI did, that said that Tony had this hit out on you. Did you ever hear the tapes?
I heard a tape in a room one day by an agent, and it was after I was told by Charlie Parson, the head agent, that there was a contract on my life. And I didn't believe him at the time, and I thought about it, about the things that Tony was doing while I was in there, and as I got angrier, then I decided to testify on Tony. It had nothing to do with me going to jail for life. It had something to do with Tony not taking care of the business. Then I was brought into a room with this agent, and he wanted me to listen to these tapes, and he had some transcripts there, and he wanted me to identify, if I could identify the voices on the tapes. It was a phone call between Tony and another party in Chicago. So I listened to the tapes, and I was like 97% sure the guy he was talking to was Joe Lombardo. And Joey told him in so many words, well, you know what you gotta do, you gotta clean your laundry. Because Joey asked him, what the hell is going on there? Meaning that I rolled, that Frank Cullotta rolled. And Tony said something, I forgot, it's been a long time. But I do remember them words, you gotta clean your laundry. And the guy, agent, asked me, are you sure that's Lombardo? I said, sounds like him. He says, it sort of sounds like Pete Basil too. And I said, there's a possibility. I said, but why would Pete Basil tell Tony that?
You were the laundry.
Absolutely.
The reason I asked that question is because I had heard a different version, and maybe somebody put a spin on it, that Tony was sort of given that order, but that he was reluctant to do it, that he hesitated to doing it, which caused him further problems himself.
Well, that sounds nice. I like to believe that, to believe that Tony liked me that much to do it, but I can't see that possibly happening.
No?
No, because he's killed people he liked too, other than me,
I mean, if he gets that order...
he's going to do it.
Or else it's him.
Yeah.
And it ended up being him, I guess. You ever heard of this, the name of this guy, Richard Kane?
Yeah, I know him well.
Scalzetti was his real name?
Scalzetti. Scalzetti. He was Sicilian. Red hair, glasses, was with the state police. Or the sheriff's department, I forgot what it was.
There's an ex-Chicago cop named John Flood who lives in Las Vegas now.
Yeah.
He's writing a book about this guy, and he tells stories about he was a pretty bad hombre, bad character.
He's a hitman.
The story he's chasing is whether or not this guy had something to do with JFK, whether the Chicago outfit had something to do with JFK.
Yeah, from what I understand. I would not say no to that. I was locked up with this guy, and this guy worked right for Sam Giancana.
Yeah.
And we were in a county jail together for like 9 months. And most tough guys in jail aren't tough anymore. Let me put it like that to you, and especially if they don't have a gun in their hand. But he was a very quiet, reserved guy, and I knew that he was close with Sam. And my own personal belief is, yeah,
Maybe, huh?
it may be, yeah.
So you would hear those, without identifying exactly, but that the Chicago group had something to do with
He
it.
was a feared guy. This guy, before I met him, I know one particular time that Willie Dodano, it's called Willie Potatoes, we pulled a bank robbery, and a portion of the money, we had to dump it somewhere because the cops were chasing us. And somebody went back and got the money, one of the crew, and we couldn't figure out who it was. So Willie Potatoes got this cane to do a lie detector test on all of us. And the guys were really nervous. And one of the guys, Guy Mandola, come up negative.
He's gone.
I guess, I had nothing to do with it. But he got shotgunned down.
Back to the idea of JFK, you know, a lot of different theories. Is that a kind of thing, if it had happened, if Chicago had something to do with it, would you hear something like that? When it
You'd
floated
pick up
around?
bits and pieces on it, yeah. You'd
Have
pick
you-
up, yeah, there wouldn't be conversation, but you'd hear a little bit here and a little bit there, you know, because you're in the same circle. We don't go around talking to strangers about it. And it sort of rolls downhill, you know.
And did it roll downhill?
Yeah.
Are you getting into that in the book? You might have
There's
to write
something,
another-
no, there'd be things about that, you know.
You know, a lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but some cops theorized that Tony may have had played hands-on with Giancana.
May I what?
May have had something to do with Giancana going away.
Well, there has been stories about that, and Tony never told me he did.
He wouldn't have.
He wouldn't tell me, hey, you know, I killed someone. He wouldn't do that.
Did you ever meet Johnny Roselli?
No.
You know who he is, no?
Yeah, the guy he cut up and put in the drums.
Johnny in a drum.
Yeah.
He was sort of like the ambassador, I guess, for a long time.
Yeah, he was, but he was, you know, not big in my eyes, but he was a big guy, you know.
Well, tell me something more about the book and why people need to have this thing.
Well, they want to know about the real truth, truth. I don't even know how to say it. Read the book, and you'll know what's going on.
One other question. This is about your personal life. You've had some tragedy in your personal life.
Yes.
And you come back and forth in and out of Las Vegas.
Yes,
here
I
and
do.
there. And you had to go back for something pretty bad.
Yeah. Well, why I go back in and out of town right now is I go visit my granddaughter's grave. My granddaughter recently died about a little over a year ago in Las Vegas at 19. We put a liver in her. She had a liver transplant when she was 10 years old. And she lived fine for 18 and a half of them years. And then her liver count was going bad, so they had to take another biopsy. And it showed that her T count was bad. And she started getting reactions from that. And we rushed her back, my ex-wife rushed her back and forth to the doctors, the hospital. Very difficult to get in them hospitals. They got 10-hour waiting, emergency. You got a kid there that's a special patient with a liver. So finally, we were able to get her into one of these hospitals after she was released from one without the proper diagnosis of her, to this St. Jude's or St. Rose. And she remained in there 2 weeks. They could not figure out her problem. All the while she had little blood clots on her lungs. And she actually died when we had her life flight at the UCLA, and she died there in front of my daughter and I, as they took her out of the ambulance into UCLA from a massive heart attack due to the blood clot in her upper leg, because they never could detect that. She didn't have the proper socks. You know, you're supposed to put the proper socks on from nylons or something, and give her something for her blood thinner. They didn't do none of that. And they actually let her later for 2 weeks and died. She code blue twice in that hospital, twice. And the third time she code blue, she died at UCLA.
You told me off camera that if this had happened, that she'd received that kind of treatment in the old days.
I'd have went there and killed everybody in the hospital that had something to do with her. And that is a fact. That kid was my heart.
Are you ever tempted to do what you used to do, to treat your problems with that way?
No, not no more. But if it was the old days, it'd be a different story. Not no more.
And do the feds, do they keep a keep a line open to
They
you?
know where I'm at all the time. All the time. They may say they don't. Shit, that's bullshit. They know where you're at.
You got to worry about them leaking it out to somebody, don't you?
Don't worry about anybody. You never know. You know, today they could be your friend, tomorrow they could be your enemy. Yeah. Prosecutors are the same thing. You might be a prosecutor today, tomorrow you might be a lawyer like Oscar. Who the hell knows?